What's up, guys? Thanks for clicking on this video. I want to ask you something first. Have you ever heard the proverb, "There's no smoke without fire"? It means every event has a cause and doesn't just appear out of nowhere. There's always a root cause, right? That proverb happens to be really relevant, guys, to the horror story I'm going to tell tonight. Mystical hauntings usually don't just happen out of the blue. There's always a dark story behind them, right? The hauntings could be a result of a bloody tragedy, an unresolved grudge, or a broken promise from the past, right? Well, tonight's story is a perfect example of that proverb. This is a story about my family's experience. When they rented a house that used to be a restaurant, guys, while they lived there, they experienced strange events that left them feeling unsettled. It started with hearing dogs barking, footsteps on the ceiling, and the appearance of scary-looking mysterious figures. They later found out that the house, which used to be a restaurant, held a dark history that made it unbearable for many people to live there for long. So, are you curious about the full story? Without further ado, let's get right into the story. Hi, check it out. Okay, so the story I'm going to tell tonight was sent by one of our friends, Mutia from Lampung. Hello, Musha. This story happened to Musha's grandparents, Grandma Sari and Grandpa Adin, in the 1960s, and to make the story easier to follow, without losing respect, in this video, I will just call the characters by their names, guys. So, guys, Adin and Sari were a married couple with 2 children at the time. Their first child was a girl named Dina, who is our friend's mom, and the boy was named Bayu, our friend's uncle. This horror story began when Adin was appointed as the head of Village A after he officially took office. His fortune improved, his authority was more respected by the residents, and his family also felt a new sense of comfort. Eventually, Adin was able to buy land and build a house on it. But the house construction was going to take a long time. So Adin decided to rent a house, a former restaurant that wasn't too far from the one being built. This rental house was quite spacious since it was a former restaurant. The restaurant was more like a food stall, really. It had a wide yard with a big tree near it. As you went inside, the front room was open without many partitions, probably because it used to be a restaurant. Further inside, there were 2 adjoining rooms. After feeling it was a good fit, Adin immediately paid the rent to the owner. Once the payment was settled, Adin asked a grass cutter named Mr. Yoko to clean up the yard to make it tidier and more comfortable to live in. After everything was ready, Adin invited his small family to move in and start living in the rental house. On the first night there, everything was normal, guys. The atmosphere in the former restaurant rental was cool and calming. But on the second night, strange things started happening and bothered them. On this second night, after Sari, Adin's wife, heard a dog barking in front of their house. At first, Sari ignored it, but the longer she left it, the louder the barking got. It was as if something was making the dog restless. Guys, not long after, she heard the dog scratching at their window, as if it wanted to get into the house. Feeling bothered, Sari peeked out the window. And when she peeked, guys, she saw not just one dog, but 5 dogs, all scratching at the window of Sari's house. Sari immediately thought, "What's this? Whose dogs are these? Why are they here?" When they surveyed the house before, there were never any dogs. Scared, Sari immediately called her husband. "Babe, babe, babe, you're in the room, right? Come here, babe. There are a lot of dogs outside, like they want to get into our house." "Oh, those are probably just the neighbor's dogs. Just leave them, they'll go away on their own," said Adin. Sari hesitated there, guys. But since her husband seemed calm, she decided to go back to the room, even though she was still uneasy. Sari let the dogs keep barking until the sound of their barking disappeared on its own. Guys, after the dogs left, there were no more strange occurrences that night, and they could go back to sleep. But it was weird that in the middle of the night, dogs suddenly showed up like they wanted to get into the house, as if they were chasing something inside. The next morning, Sari and Auden went about their usual activities. Guys, Auden went to work while Sari took care of their 2 children. But when Mograb came, the previous night's incident happened again. The same 5 dogs returned to Sari's rental, barking again and scratching at the window of Sari's house, guys, as if there was something they were chasing inside. But this time, Sari wasn't as surprised as the night before. She just thought, they'll probably disappear on their own like last time. And she was right. Guys, around after Isia, the barking sound slowly disappeared, and the house became quiet again. But it turned out that the incident didn't just happen once or twice. Every time Mograb arrived, the same 5 dogs would come to Sari's rental and scratch at the window, just like before. And because the incident kept repeating, Sari eventually got used to it, guys. She wasn't worried anymore. The dogs would go away on their own anyway. Just as Sari was getting used to the sound of the barking dogs, another disturbance started appearing. Guys, almost every night until dawn, Sari would hear a loud thumping sound from the ceiling. At first, Sari thought it was rats, right? But the more she listened, the louder the sound became. It was as if many people were walking back and forth up there. And the thumping sound wasn't normal, guys. It was so loud that Sari felt like the ceiling was about to collapse. The vibration was so strong. Sari thought to herself that there was no way it was rats making that much noise. Besides, it was strange for rats to only make noise at certain hours, from midnight until dawn, while there was nothing during the day. At this point, Sari started feeling uneasy again. Guys, her fear from the ceiling noise hadn't even subsided when one time, Sari heard a horror story from Mr. Yoko, the grass cutter who helped clean their yard, about this rental house that used to be a restaurant. Mr. Yoko said that one night, he went to Sari's house to get the payment that Aiden hadn't paid yet. After he got the money, Mr. Yoko said goodbye and headed home. But as he passed the tree in the front yard of Sari's rental house, guys, Mr. Yoko was shocked when he saw heads popping out. Not peeking, but popping out like this, from between the branches of the tree. After he looked closely, guys, he saw that the heads were attached to tall, big, and black bodies standing behind the tree. So the heads were like this, stuck out, staring at Mr. Yoko. Mr. Yoko's body froze right there. He couldn't move. He prayed in his heart. He closed his eyes, then peeked again, and they were still there. He prayed and prayed again. Only after he could move his body did he immediately run away from the house. Hearing that story made Sari even more terrified. The image of the black figure that Mr. Yoko saw immediately made Sari's mind uneasy. Guys. But at the same time, Sari tried to calm herself. She thought, oh, well, as long as I'm not the one being seen, it's probably fine. Besides, I'm only here temporarily. When my house is finished, I won't be in this house anymore. But despite trying to be relaxed, guys, Mr. Yoko's story about the figure in the tree kept bothering Sari every time she swept the yard. She felt like, is it there? Do I feel like someone is watching me from behind that tree? Guys, until one day, the mystical incident that she had only heard about from others, which was from Mr. Yoko. She experienced it herself. Sari experienced it again, guys. The story is, that day, Sari had just returned from picking up Dina and Bayu from school. When she entered the house, Sari suddenly saw a large black dog sitting under her dining table. What? Why is there a dog? Whose dog is this? How did it get into my house? All the doors were locked. The house was empty. How did a dog suddenly appear? Fearing that the dog would bite her, Sari immediately looked for a stick to chase the dog away. When Sari found a stick, the dog immediately ran towards the kitchen area. The dining room and kitchen area were separated. It really went to the kitchen. But, strangely, when Sari chased it to the kitchen, the dog disappeared. It disappeared. All the doors except the front door were closed by Sari. There was no way for the dog to get out. But it was gone suddenly. What was that? She asked Dina and Bayu. Was there a dog that went outside? No, Mom, there wasn't. Oh, you must be scared. But did you see the dog? Yes, Mom, we saw it. Mom, where is it now? They checked, but it wasn't there. It had disappeared. Was it a dog or not? Oh, whatever, at least it's gone, Sari said. And not long after that incident, mystical events started happening in a row, getting more frequent. And this time, it wasn't just Sari who experienced it, but also some relatives who happened to be visiting their rental house. The first incident was experienced by Sari's distant relative named Maida. That night, Maida was staying at Sari's rental house. Guys, she slept in the front room. This front room was rarely used. It was actually Dina and Bayu's room. But they refused to sleep there because they said the vibe was not good. So, they all slept together in the second room. That night, after talking with Sari and the family, Maida went into her room, the front room, to rest. When she was lying down, she felt restless. Guys, it was like she had trouble sleeping. So, Maida lay on her side, and her eyes were aimed at the side of the bed. And that's when, guys, Maida was suddenly shocked by, oh my God, there was a head guy. A head without a body rolled out from under the bed. And the head wasn't scary. Its face wasn't gruesome. But the head was of Maida's deceased older brother. Imagine that, guys. Hey, big brother. She was about to run away when the head rolled closer to her. It was smiling and showed off. a set of silver dentures that were identical to her deceased brother's teeth. Maida immediately screamed. Then the figure disappeared from her sight. Guys, the sound of Maida's scream immediately woke up Sari and Aden, who were sleeping in the second room. They quickly went to Maida. Ma'am, what's wrong, ma'am? With her breath ragged, Maida said, just now, I saw a head that came out from under this bed. My deceased brother's head. What was that? What was that? They were shocked, guys. Hearing that, Sari and Aden looked at each other. What is this, babe? They were scared too. They quickly calmed Maida down. It's okay, ma'am. It's okay. Nothing's wrong now, ma'am. Just sleep with us in the back room. Yes. Okay, I don't want to sleep here anymore. Let's go. So, that night, all 5 of them, Sari, Aden, Dina, Bayu, and Maida, slept together in the back room. But because she was worried that the figure would appear again, Maida couldn't sleep all night. She just kept reciting prayers. And as soon as morning came, Maida, who was still scared, immediately packed her bags. She said goodbye and went home. Since then, she was so traumatized that she never wanted to visit Sari's rental house again. Not even once. To be shown the rolling head of her deceased brother? Imagine that, guys. After Maida was shown the scary figure, Sari's feelings became even more uneasy. She was always unsettled, and every time she was doing her activities, she felt like someone was watching her from the shadows. Because she was uncomfortable with that feeling, Sari finally talked to her husband. Babe, I'm not comfortable living here anymore. Guys, every day, I feel like someone is watching me. The vibe in this house is not good. Her husband said, come on, dear, it's just your imagination. You've never seen anything strange, right? Just be patient, okay? When our house is finished, we will move right away. And by the way, guys, even when she was complaining, their rental house was still often barked at by dogs every grab still. Although the intensity wasn't as frequent as it used to be, they would always suddenly come. Hearing her husband's words, Sari had no choice but to try to be patient and wait for their house to be built. But Sari's patience was tested even more because not long after, another horror incident happened to another family member. So, that day, Adam's nephew, Rasme, was visiting their rental house with her boyfriend, Aziz. Aziz was from out of town, guys, and at that time, he was visiting Lampung to see Rasme before going to Sari's house. They had been walking around all day until almost After their outing, Aziz planned to take Rasme home. But the plan was canceled because it was getting late, and they couldn't find public transportation that could take them to Rasme's house. So Rasme said, hey what if we just stay at my relative's house? My uncle Adin. It's close by. It's too tiring for you to go straight back to your place. And I can't go back because there's no public transportation. Okay, then. But I feel bad. I don't really know your relatives yet. It's okay, we'll introduce you later. They're good people, Rasme said. So, they went to Aden's rental house. Guys, when they arrived, they were welcomed by Sari and Aden. They were also allowed to stay there. But Razmi slept in the front room, Aziz in the living room, while Adin and his family slept in the back room before they went to their respective rooms to rest. The atmosphere that night was normal, guys. But when it was 3 a.m., when they were all in their respective beds, suddenly Aziz, who was sleeping in the living room, was groaning in pain while still asleep with his eyes closed. The groaning sound was faint at first, but it got louder and louder until it woke up Sari, surprised by the sound. Sari went out of the room towards the source of the sound. It turned out to be Aziz's voice. When Sari approached Aziz, she saw that Aziz's clothes were soaked with sweat, and he was still groaning like that. Sari woke him up. Aziz, Aziz, wake up, Aziz. What's wrong with you? When he woke up, Aziz's face was pale, guys, and his breathing was ragged, as if he had just run around a field. What's wrong with you? I just had a strange dream, Auntie. This house doesn't seem right. What did you dream about? There, Aziz told her that he had just dreamed of seeing his girlfriend, Razmi, wearing a wedding dress. She came out of the front room. But what scared Aziz was that Razmi's hair was very long, sweeping the floor. But in reality, Razmi's hair was short. In the dream, her hair was very long. Feeling that something was wrong, Aziz called her in the dream. Dear, where are you going? But Razmi just stayed silent. Guys. She kept walking with a blank expression. Along with that, Aziz suddenly had trouble breathing, like there was a big rock pressing on his chest. That's why he was groaning, but he couldn't wake up. It was like he was experiencing sleep paralysis. Hearing the story, Sari immediately woke her husband. She told him everything about what happened to Aziz. Babe, it was like this, and this. And this time, Sari couldn't be patient anymore. Guys, the fear that she had been holding back finally exploded. Sari felt that Aziz's dream couldn't be a normal dream. This house is definitely not right. I don't want to live here anymore, babe. So many people have experienced mystical incidents here. Babe, yesterday it was Mr. Yoko Maya, and now Aziz. I even saw a dog suddenly enter the house. I don't want to be here anymore. But again, guys, when he heard his wife's complaints, Adin said, yes, dear, I understand, but just be patient. Our house will be finished soon. It's just for a little while longer. At that point, Adin still didn't take his wife's complaints too seriously. Guys, that's because he had never experienced a mystical event himself. So far, the ones who had experienced it were Mr. Yoko, Sari, and her relatives, and his relative. That's why Adin was still relaxed, feeling like there was nothing to worry about, until one day, it was Aiden's turn to experience a horror incident in this house. This incident not only made him shiver, but also crumbled his courage. That night, for the first time, Adin understood what it was like to face a supernatural oddity. So, this is Adin's part of the story. That night, Adin had just returned from the office. Because he was tired, he lay down on the sofa, which was not too far from the front room. The door to the front room was intentionally left open, so, from where he was lying, Adin could see directly into the room. In a half-asleep state, Adin suddenly saw a whirlwind. Guys, a whirlwind that moved from under the bed in the front room. What is that? What is that? Before he could think about what it was, the whirlwind suddenly stopped and slowly formed a strange creature without a body. Guys, it was only a head, and the longer he looked, the more solid and clear the face became. The face wasn't scary. It was like a human head. The only difference was that the skin was white, the beard was neat, and the facial expression was handsome. Like a person from the Middle East, that's what he saw. But no matter how handsome the person was, if there was no body, it was still scary. It was very clear that Auden saw it. He even thought, is this real, or am I dreaming? God, why is there no body? Before that question was answered, the figure near the room suddenly flew towards Aden and was like, huh, as if it wanted to attack Aden. Aden immediately dodged it. And when he dodged, the figure immediately disappeared. He was trembling right there. His breathing was irregular. Oh God, what was that? He saw it so clearly. Finally, he woke up his wife and told her about the incident. Dear, just now I saw a head without a body. Dear, it was like what Maida told us. But the one I saw wasn't a rolling head. Dear, it changed from a shadow to a head, but the head didn't have silver teeth. Dear, it was handsome, like a Middle Eastern person, but it had no body. See, what did I tell you? There's something wrong with this house. Babe, if we keep living here, we won't be able to live peacefully. Let's just move. Sorry, said, but instead of agreeing, Guy Aden had another idea. He wanted to make sure whether all the horror incidents he and his family had experienced were real or just their imagination. Aden said, wait a minute, let's not move yet. I want to make sure. Is this real or just our imagination? Babe, so many people have seen it. Yes, dear, I saw it myself too. Okay, but don't move yet. I want to make sure. I'll call a shaman tomorrow. I want to know what's really happening in this rental house. What's here? Is it really a ghost or not? Okay, fine. But if the shaman says there's something wrong with this house, that this house is dangerous, we have to move. Yes, dear. I just want to know. We'll move if it's really dangerous. Finally, the next morning Aden called Ida, a shaman from near their village. After Ida arrived, he asked to stay overnight at the house so he could communicate with the supernatural occupants of the former restaurant. When he arrived at the house, the first thing Ita did was sit in meditation in the front room. He stayed there from morning until the next day. So Ida was in that room for almost an entire night, guys. The next morning, after everyone woke up, everyone was curious. What happened? Ida told them everything about what was really behind the mystical disturbances that Sari and the others had experienced all this time. According to a TA's divination, guys, the rental house was indeed inhabited by many spirits, but the most prominent, one with the most powerful energy, was a family with 2 children. Based on their appearance, Ada guessed this family was from the Middle East, and according to Ada, this family of 4 was tragically killed and mutilated by an unknown perpetrator. The spirits were trapped near the house. It happened to be near the front room, in Bayou and Dina's room, and it's highly likely that the figure without a body that appeared from under the bed, that Auden saw was the same figure that Maida saw, just ahead. Ita also said that before the house was occupied by other families, the previous residents also often experienced mystical disturbances there. So after the restaurant closed, the rental house was occupied by a few other families. Guys, they were also often disturbed. Ida guessed that the spirits or entities in the house were often appearing and terrorizing them because they didn't like their area being occupied by humans. But these spirits also didn't want to be chased away because they felt like they were the ones who lived there first. So all the strange incidents they had experienced all this time, Ida said, from the mysterious dogs, the sounds on the ceiling, the tall black figure that Mr. Yoko saw, to the head without a body, were not just random incidents. They were the occupants of the house. After hearing Ada's explanation, Auden became more convinced to move. Even though they had only been there for a few months, they decided to move to a new rental house because their own house wasn't finished yet. After they moved, thankfully, Auden and his family never experienced any more mystical incidents until their house was finally finished. Then they moved to their own house and lived peacefully without any more disturbances. They were safe in their own house. It was the former rental house that had the severe disturbances. Okay, guys, so that was the horror experience of Auden and Sari when they lived in the former restaurant rental house. From this story, we learn that every place we live in or visit has its own story and history, guys. But I hope that wherever we live, we are protected from things that bother us, whether they are visible or not. If you were in Sari and Auden's position, what would you do, guys? Would you choose to move or stay in that house and face everything? If you asked me, I would stay there. It would be a waste of money. I'd sleep with the TV on, with the volume high, and all the lights on. I'd build a fortress with pillows. My husband wouldn't be allowed to sleep before I do. I'd just be on my phone all the time. That's what I would do. What about you guys? Comment below. Okay, guys. So that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, click the like button. Don't forget to comment below with your ideas and suggestions for the next videos. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you know when I upload a new video. And as always, don't forget to click the subscribe button so you can get interesting and thrilling information from my channel. See you in the next video.